Male suspect arrested for illegal firearm possession. Prime Minister Mercelina meets with President Louis Mussington to address traffic challenges and strengthen bilateral cooperation. The bidders actually may know each other's prices. Risk auditor Jandrop, unlocking business survival through tax debt rehab. From the island, Sint Maarten, this is SXM Daily News for May 18th, 2026. The police force of Sint Maarten, KPSM, informs the public that on Sunday, May 17th, 2026, at approximately 1 p.m., officers attached to the detective department observed a dark-colored scooter with a lone rider traveling along Front Street in Philipsburg. Officers became suspicious after noticing the rider repeatedly looking into various business establishments while moving through the area. His behavior raised concern, prompting officers to continue observing him. The rider was subsequently followed onto Back Street, where officers again observed him slowing down and looking into one of the stores in a manner they considered suspicious. After relaying the information to other patrol units, officers coordinated efforts and successfully intercepted the rider of the scooter, identified by the initials JMM, on Longwall Road. While conducting a control of the suspect, officers discovered a revolver concealed underneath his shirt. The suspect was immediately arrested and the firearm was confiscated. He was then transported to the Philipsburg police station, where he is currently being held for questioning pending further investigation. KPSM continues to maintain a proactive approach in combating illegal firearm possession and criminal activity. The removal of illegal weapons from the streets remains a priority in ensuring the safety and security of the community. The police force of Sint Maarten, KPSM, informs the public that a suspect with the initials MEO was arrested at his residence during the early morning hours of Friday, May 15, 2026, in connection with an ongoing investigation into an ill-treatment and theft incident that took place during an incident at Festival Village a few weeks ago. Following his arrest, the suspect was transported to the Philipsburg police station, where he is currently being held for questioning. KPSM is also actively investigating several other incidents involving public violence and fights that occurred during the recent carnival period at Festival Village. The conclusion of carnival does not mean that investigations into criminal activities have ended. KPSM takes these incidents seriously and remains committed to thoroughly investigating all reported matters. Action will continue to be taken based on available evidence and information received. The police force urges anyone with relevant information that may assist these investigations to come forward and cooperate with authorities. United People's Party, UP, Member of Parliament, MP, Omar Otley, has been released after questioning by the Landsrecherche Sint Maarten in connection with a criminal investigation into an alleged public assault. The prosecutor's office said in an updated press statement that the investigation will continue. A fellow suspect remains in custody. According to information released by the public prosecutor's office, Sint Maarten, Otley was arrested on May 15, 2026, as part of an investigation into an incident alleged to have taken place in April at Carnival Village. The case remains under investigation by the Landsrecherche Sint Maarten under the direction of the public prosecutor's office. Authorities stated that no further substantive information will be released at this time in the interest of the ongoing investigation. Minister of Romy Patrice Gums. So the question is now MP Ardwell Irian with a new garbage tender. How will the minister ensure the process is ethical and fair? Now that the haulers may know what the bidders actually may know each other's prices from the previous bid, will there be new terms of reference, pricing caps, or other measures? The Ministry fully recognizes the importance of ensuring that any new solid waste collection tender is conducted in a manner that is ethical, fair, transparent, and defensible, particularly in light of the fact that market participants may now have an increased awareness of each other's pricing.
To the questions now of MP Irian. With a new garbage tender, how will the Minister ensure the process is ethical and fair now that the haulers may know, well, the bidders actually, may know each other's prices from the previous bid? Will there be a new terms of reference, pricing caps, or other measures? The Ministry fully recognizes the importance of ensuring that any new solid waste collection tender is conducted in a manner that is ethical, fair, transparent, and defensible, particularly in light of the fact that market participants may now have an increased awareness of each other's pricing. The Ministry emphasizes, however, that awareness of previous bids does not, in itself, undermine fair competition. It is important to note that this is not the first time that VROMI has undertaken a retendering process in which prior bid information has become known to prospective bidders. This is an unavoidable consequence of retendering processes conducted in accordance with principles of transparency and public accountability. When supported by a revised terms of reference, clear evaluation criteria, and proper governance safeguards, such circumstances do not compromise the integrity of the procurement process, nor do they prevent meaningful and fair competition among qualified bidders. The MP's second question: can VROMI, TEAT, and Justice form a joint approach task force to address car wrecks and unlicensed mechanics operating with wrecks? The joint approach by VROMI, TEAT, and Justice is already taking place. What is important to consider is the scale at which car wrecks are being disposed of and the number of unlicensed mechanics on St. Martin. What needs to be done is to make these inspections more systematic and structured where possible, and to have clear triggers where a more ad hoc inspection is considered necessary. Moreover, the work currently being done on administrative enforcement will support these inspections. The MP's third question: what legal basis allows the Ministry to use drone technology for inspection enforcement? Will enabling legislation be brought to Parliament? The Ministry is currently only exploring the possible future use of drone technology as one of several modern tools that may assist with inspection and enforcement activities. No operational drone enforcement program has been implemented at this stage. In principle, the use of drone technology is not prohibited in St. Martin. Government authorities may, within the scope of their statutory supervisory and enforcement mandates, assess whether emerging technologies can support the effective execution of their public tasks. This includes considering technological developments that may improve efficiency, safety, environmental monitoring, infrastructure assessment, and compliance oversight. At the same time, I fully recognize that the use of drone technology by a public authority must at times take place within the boundaries of applicable law, constitutional principles, aviation regulations, and privacy protections. Should we proceed further with the development of any drone-assisted inspection framework, careful consideration will be given to matters such as proportionality, necessity, privacy and data protection safeguards, operational limitations, authorization procedures, storage and handling of imagery or data, aviation safety requirements, and compliance with applicable national and international legal standards. The Ministry is also aware that the use of advanced surveillance or monitoring technologies by government authorities requires a clear and legally sound framework. As part of any future policy development, the Ministry will assess whether the existing legislative framework sufficiently supports such use, or whether additional legal clarification or enabling legal would be appropriate. Accordingly, if it is determined that a more explicit statutory basis or additional safeguards are necessary, the appropriate legal changes through Parliament will be considered in the ordinary course of government and, of course, legal development.
Marigot, Prime Minister Luc Mercelina, met last Wednesday, May 13, 2026, with President of the Territorial Council of the Collectivity of Saint Martin, Louis Mussington, to discuss the ongoing traffic challenges affecting both sides of the island and to explore practical solutions through strengthened bilateral cooperation. The meeting focused on several critical matters, including traffic congestion, cross-border mobility, infrastructure coordination, and the need for greater technical cooperation to improve traffic circulation and mobility island-wide. Also participating in the meeting were Minister of Viromi Patrice Gums, along with government officials supporting both the Saint Martin and Saint Martin delegations. Prime Minister Mercelina emphasized that traffic congestion has become a serious island-wide issue impacting residents, businesses, emergency services, and the tourism sector. Traffic congestion is no longer simply an inconvenience. It directly affects productivity, public safety, tourism, and the overall quality of life for our people. This is a shared challenge that requires practical cooperation and coordinated solutions between both sides of the island, stated Prime Minister Mercelina. During the discussions, both parties acknowledged the importance of enhancing technical collaboration between the relevant ministries and departments responsible for traffic management, infrastructure, transportation, and public safety. Particular emphasis was placed on strengthening cooperation involving the Ministries of Public Transport, Justice, and Viromi, as well as their counterparts on the French side, in order to support coordinated planning, traffic management initiatives, road safety measures, and long-term mobility solutions. It was agreed that Minister of Viromi Patrice Gums will take the lead on behalf of the government of Saint Martin, together with his colleagues from the Ministries of Public Transport and Justice, in the establishment and coordination of the proposed Technical Cooperation Committee.
Are you SXM insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXM is cardless. Request your My SXM account today and enter the virtual office of SXM. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXM, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
For many business owners in the Dutch Caribbean, losing a final tax case can feel like reaching a financial breaking point. Once objections, appeals, and court procedures are exhausted, the tax office may proceed with enforcement measures such as bank liens, account freezes, asset seizures, and public auctions. Within a short period, a functioning business can face operational paralysis. At this critical stage, many traditional advisors step away. Accountants often focus primarily on compliance and reporting, while litigation attorneys may conclude their involvement once court proceedings have ended. Business owners are frequently left facing severe financial pressure with few structured recovery options available. According to Terence Jandrope, however, the end of litigation does not necessarily have to mean the end of the business operation. As a certified risk auditor, CRA, with decades of experience in tax and audit matters across the Dutch Caribbean, Jandrope is pioneering a specialized post-assessment mediation methodology known as compliance by acceptance, a forensic tax recovery approach focused on preserving viable businesses while creating structured pathways toward repayment. From enforcement to structured recovery, traditional tax enforcement methods are designed to secure immediate collection through legal execution measures. In practice, however, aggressive enforcement can sometimes produce unintended consequences: operational shutdown, employee displacement, destruction of future tax revenue, and limited recovery through liquidation sales. Public auctions frequently generate only a fraction of the outstanding liability, while permanently removing a functioning taxpayer from the economy. Jandrope's compliance by acceptance methodology approaches the situation differently. The liability may already be determined, Jandrope explains, but the method of recovery can still be structured in a way that protects both the Treasury and the continuity of the business. Minister Richenel Brugge outlined the problem. The party board, after that letter, never heard back again. Whether the board addressed the Prime Minister. Never heard back again. Anything. Not even just nothing. Nothing to say that, hey, listen, we spoke to him. This is a corrective measure. Nothing, after a couple of months, started back again. Got more severe. No indirect attacks against myself to the cabinet. Looking for things, meddling, having meetings with my department head, asking them, telling reports to them. The minister spoke at the public meeting of Parliament.
Madam Chair, after that letter, never heard back again whether the board addressed the Prime Minister, never heard back again anything, not even to, nothing. Nothing to say that, hey, listen, we spoke to him, this is a corrective measure, nothing. After a couple of months, started back again. Got more severe. Now indirect attacks against my chef de cabinet, looking for things, meddling, having meetings with my department head, asking them, telling them to report to them. Madam Chair, it is so bad, Madam Chair. It is so bad, Madam Chair, that, I ask myself all the time, I come in this, I expect a lot of, they always warn me about politics, but this is uncharted. When I speak to all other politicians, young ones, older ones, this has never been the situation. But Madam Chair, when I talk about addressing other civil servants as well and promising them things in exchange for their cooperation, whether it's a position, my seat, for example, promising them things, whether it's position on a party list. These are all the things that are actually going on, Madam Chair. These are all the things that are actually going on. Madam Chair, at the end of my tenure, I think I could write a book. I think I could write a book based on everything that I've experienced. I honestly believe I'm here because I stand up for the people of St. Martin. I stand up for what's right. I stand up for the oath that I took when I became a member of parliament, when I became a minister. I said it too often in this hall, that once it's good for St. Martin, whether it comes from the sitting coalition members, opposition, anybody, it will have my support. And that is exactly how I have governed. That is exactly how I've governed from the time that I've sat here. And it hurts, because to fight so many years to get here, and then in less than 2 years, you are being threatened to receive a vote of no confidence. Not because you did something wrong, just because you're not marching to the beats or to the drum of those that are asking you to do things that are unlawful, unethical, that do not benefit the people of St. Martin. That is the reason that we're here today, Madam Chair. And at times, it does hurt. Not at times, it does hurt. Because I keep on reflecting how hard I've worked to get here. But I had a conversation over the weekend with a friend of mine. And he stated that it's not about how long you serve, but how well you serve. I believe, regardless whether the motion of confidence comes, and if it is decided that I have to go home, I will leave with my head up high. The people, those that know me, knows that I'm a man of integrity. I will continue to serve with integrity no matter what the future brings or where God takes me. I put everything in the hands of the Lord, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I'm going to end it here and tell the members of Parliament that I hope that I have answered their questions. I have brought enough information to them. And if is their intention to further investigate, I will cooperate any way possible. Again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a person that, is out there flashing and all that. I'm a simple guy that sells patty. That's what I did. That's where I come from. That's my family business. All I have is my integrity and my name. And I will not let down those that are coming after me. I'm not going to let down those that are coming after me to give them something to be disappointed in. Thank you, Madam Chair.
MP Veronica Jansen-Webster, I remember seeing on the slide that on early November 26, 2024, and then early December 2024, the minister indicated that advice went to, and a reminder in January 2026, the minister mentioned giving the husband of his chief of staff a contract, and the minister, mistakes can happen, etc. But I'm looking at the timeline. This advice was already given to the husband of the chief of staff, and then the minister proceeded to mention that the chief of staff signs all advice.
And I remember seeing up on the slide that early November 26, 2024, November 26, 2024, and then early December 2024, the minister indicated that an advice went to Yezatin Way and a reminder in January 2026, and the minister indicated that this advice that went to Yezatin Way was, the minister mentioned, to give the husband of his chief of staff a contract. And the minister didn't mention, mistakes can happen, etc. But I'm looking at the timeline. So in November 26, 2026, he was sworn in, and early December, this advice already went to give the husband of the chief of staff a contract. And then the minister proceeded to mention that the chief of staff signs all advices, so that meant that she signed that advice also. And Then the minister mentioned that, and he also illustrated with a long story about the car. We all remember the car that they wanted to buy, the couple wanted to buy for their child. And so he used that to elaborate on the Yezetin Way. At least I think so. So my question is, did that story have to do with Yezetin Way? Because what I understood from the story, but I might be wrong, what I understood from the story was that the minister wanted a contract for the husband of his chief of staff, and he sent the request to Yezetin Way, and then he sent a reminder because Yezetin Way is short-staffed. So he sent a reminder, and then Yezetin Way didn't answer, and then it says there that he proceeded without Yezetin Way advice. And my thing is, having been a civil servant, and the minister is sitting there with at least 2 civil servants, that's a no-no. Nobody in the civil service, when you continue without an advice from Yezetin Way. And the minister, he has that up there, that he proceeded without a Yezetin Way advice. And I know that there are MPs who question that in here in Parliament with other ministers. So the same thing here, that's why I question how could the minister continue without this Yezetin Way advice. And then coincidentally, the Yezetin Way advice came back. The minister mentioned that it came back saying that it was negative because of a potential conflict of interest. So basically, my question, Madam Chair, is my summary of this part here, from what I gathered here today, is that accurate? Is that how it happened? Then I understood also from the car, the example of the car, that there was, it was a pressing issue. Because, and the reason why the issue was pressing, I understood, was because when the minister entered, there was someone working part-time, and so they needed somebody right away. Now, I don't think that was in my, what was the document that I didn't leave or something? My report that I left there for the minister to continue, I don't remember writing that there was an issue with the person there, but however, there was a need, I understand, a pressing need to switch that person and therefore hire the chief of staff's husband. And then the other reason for the pressing need in the car ride was because of the money not being available. So, Madam Chair, I know that when I was there in my term, money was placed on the budget, money was made, capital expenditure was made available in order and was announced to the Mental Health Foundation to alleviate them from that pressing need for funds, because just like other projects from the World Bank and NRPB, just like other projects that didn't continue on time, such as the housing project, for instance, prior to us joining the government, that project didn't meet the deadlines, so that project, the money had, it was said, oh, the money has to go back to the Netherlands. And it was said to us when I joined, when I sat with the same Secretary General and the lady who was there handling mental health, it was said that if we didn't secure the funds on time, that project too, the money would go back to the Netherlands. So together with the Minister of Finance, we secured the CAPEX. And not only that, we secured so besides the $8 million for the new building, we secured 1.3 million guilders, which was approved for 2024 and which was for operational costs, and an additional 1.2 million for 2025. And the minister was in Parliament already, and the minister answered to that question, was the money disbursed? And the minister did indicate that it was disbursed. So when I hear that there was this urgency in the car, and therefore YZWay advice was not waited on, I'm going to ask again, why was YZWay advice not awaited? And since the indication is that from then, legal affairs is in need of staffing, and they still are in need of staffing, have other advices been done without YZWay advice since? And if so, which ones? The minister indicated that it's not his style to call names. Unfortunately, I downloaded the letter off of the Tribune, and I took the time to write down all the names that were called. And why? Because a lot of us MPs, we like to talk about people who we meet. And I met a lady who was very disturbed, and not her alone. During Carnival, I also met another gentleman, very disturbed by their names being called in this letter. And this letter being online, you know what happens when you search those persons' name? It pops up with all kinds of allegations, etc. But the minister indicated that he does not call names. What I have here, just give me briefly to count them for you. I didn't count them before. I counted 11 names, but there might be more, that were called in what is called the 12-page letter that the minister submitted to Parliament, which ended up on the Tribune.
Now for the weather forecast. Tonight through Tuesday evening, partly cloudy to cloudy and breezy with isolated showers. Surface winds, tonight through Tuesday evening, easterly with a gentle to moderate breeze ranging from 8 to 16 mm length. Higher gusts are likely. State of the sea, slight to moderate waves, swells, 3 to 6 feet outlook through Wednesday evening. Partly cloudy and slightly breezy with isolated showers and slight haze. And now your 3-day forecast.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurances.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah, your social and health insurances.
Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina has extended warm congratulations and best wishes to the Haitian community in Sint Maarten and around the world in observance of Haitian Flag Day, celebrated annually on May 18th. The Prime Minister acknowledged the important contributions of the Haitian community to the social, cultural, and economic development of Sint Maarten and praised the resilience, determination, and rich heritage of the Haitian people. On behalf of the government and people of Sint Maarten, I extend heartfelt congratulations to our Haitian brothers and sisters as you proudly celebrate Haitian Flag Day, stated Prime Minister Dr. Luc Mercelina. Today is a celebration of unity, freedom, pride, and the enduring spirit of the Haitian people, whose history continues to inspire generations across the world. Prime Minister Mercelina further emphasized the long-standing ties between the people of Haiti and Sint Maarten, noting the valuable role the Haitian community continues to play within the multicultural fabric of the country. The Haitian community remains an integral part of our society, the Prime Minister added. Your hard work, entrepreneurial spirit, cultural richness, and commitment to family and community have helped shape the vibrant diversity that defines Sint Maarten. We honor your contributions and celebrate this special day alongside you. The Prime Minister also reflected on the significance of the Haitian flag as a symbol of independence, courage, and national pride. As the Haitian flag waves proudly today, may it continue to symbolize hope, perseverance, and unity for all Haitians everywhere. May this occasion inspire continued solidarity, mutual respect, and cultural appreciation among all communities living together in Sint Maarten, Prime Minister Mercelina concluded. The government of Sint Maarten joins the Haitian community in commemorating Haitian Flag Day and wishes everyone a joyful and meaningful celebration. Member of Parliament La Cruz recognizes Haitian Flag Day as a meaningful moment of pride and reflection for the Haitian people, including the Haitian diaspora here on St. Maarten. Observed on May 18th, the day commemorates the creation of Haiti's flag in 1803, a powerful symbol born from a defining chapter in history and the determination of a people to shape their own future. Haiti would go on to become the first independent country in the Caribbean, marking a historic milestone that continues to resonate far beyond its borders. Haitian Flag Day carries meaning far beyond the flag itself, MP Lacroze stated. It speaks to identity, to history, and to the strength of a people who stood firm in who they are. That is something worthy of recognition and respect. The Hague. Former Dutch Minister for Kingdom Relations Ronald Plasterk has sharply criticized Dutch Prime Minister Rob Jetten for spending extensive time visiting the Caribbean parts of the kingdom while, according to him, major crises demand attention elsewhere. In a column published Friday in Dutch newspaper De Telegraaf, Plasterk called Jetten's tour across the 6 Caribbean islands of the kingdom completely incomprehensible. The criticism follows Jetten's recent working visits to Curaçao, Aruba, Sint Maarten, Saba, Sint Eustatius, and Bonaire. Hyperactive on the islands, Plasterk argued that kingdom relations is formally the responsibility of State Secretary Eric van der Burg and not the direct portfolio of the Prime Minister. According to Plasterk, a Prime Minister should generally avoid interfering too deeply in portfolios assigned to other cabinet members, except in areas such as foreign affairs, where responsibilities naturally overlap. He described Jetten as being hyperactive in the Caribbean and criticized the Dutch Prime Minister for publicly sharing photos, infrastructure updates, and policy positions from the islands during his tour. Plasterk questioned why Jetten was dedicating so much personal attention to the Caribbean, while the Netherlands faces major domestic and international challenges. The world is on fire. Plasterk argued that global geopolitical tensions, threats of war, migration issues, and housing shortages in the Netherlands should currently receive higher priority from the Dutch government. The world is on fire, he wrote. He also criticized Jetten's political party, Democrats, D66, saying that previous promises regarding housing and domestic policy have not been fulfilled, while many Dutch citizens continue to struggle with affordability and migration-related tensions. Plasterk questioned whether Jetten's Caribbean tour reflects lack of administrative experience, amateurism, or even escape behavior. Reflection on Mark Rutte's approach. The former minister also reflected on his own years overseeing kingdom relations during the governments of former Prime Minister Mark Rutte. Plasterk said Rutte generally maintained a distant and sober approach toward the Caribbean parts of the kingdom and rarely intervened publicly in Caribbean political matters. Bridgetown. Barbados will host the 45th edition of the Caribbean Travel Marketplace, CTM, in May 2027, bringing one of the Caribbean tourism industry's most important business events to the island. According to the official Caribbean Travel Marketplace website, the event is scheduled for May 18th to 21, 2027. The annual event, organized by the Caribbean Hotel and Tourism Association, CHTA, is considered the Caribbean's leading business-to-business tourism marketplace. It connects hotels, resorts, tourism boards, airlines, tour operators, wholesalers, travel advisors, and hospitality suppliers from across the region with international buyers from key tourism markets. Caribbean Travel Marketplace rotates between Caribbean destinations and serves as a central platform where tourism businesses negotiate contracts, build partnerships, market destinations, and secure future business for the region. The 2026 edition is currently scheduled to take place in Antigua and Barbuda from May 12 to 15, while Barbados has now been announced as the next host destination for 2027. For Curaçao, the event presents an important opportunity for local hospitality businesses, hotels, attractions, restaurants, tour operators, and tourism-related service providers to strengthen their international visibility and secure direct business relationships with global travel buyers. Industry experts throughout the Caribbean increasingly view participation in Caribbean Travel Marketplace as essential because tourism competition between destinations continues to intensify. The event allows businesses to conduct multiple face-to-face meetings with international travel partners in just a few days, something that would otherwise require expensive overseas marketing trips. The marketplace has also evolved beyond traditional hotel promotion. Recent editions now place greater emphasis on broader economic linkages, including local food production, manufacturing, culture, and creative industries connected to tourism. This is our SXM Daily Newscast. Thank you for joining us.